After a scintillating performance from South Africa's bowling attack, there has been some interesting contrasting views when it comes to the ball that South Africa uses, the Duke ball and the Kookaburra, particularly those two going head to head. We've had some contrasting views from some of the players and the coaches, with Charles Langeveld and the likes of Lungi Ngidi obviously talking quite fondly of the Duke ball because of the amount of movement they get. Then you got a guy like Quinton de Kock who came out and spoke about it too, but he was talking about facing the Duke ball and how difficult it was to face it, and that he basically said no, that he doesn't want that to happen in South African cricket. So what I decided to do today is try to kill this discussion once and for all. Let's discuss the pros and some of the cons. Let's see what some pundits say about it, etc. And let's discuss whether this is an opportunity, maybe an option for South Africa. I mean, me personally, I don't believe so, but let's just explore the options and see the differences between both. But before we get going, just subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. I'm going to be bringing Aditya on the show next. So let's get straight into the conversation and let's talk about which options we should be using and the differences between the two. Hey guys, welcome to your daily show. I'm your host Khalid. This is the show where we talk about all the major talking points in South African cricket. Now, after the first test, there were some suggestions from certain people, maybe some pundits also were speaking about it as well. The Duke ball, the way South Africa bowled with the Duke ball, there were certain things that you obviously saw from South Africa that you might not have seen before in South African conditions, particularly the way the ball was swinging off the seam. I think we start with this because we know that South Africa plays with the Kookaburra, and for so many years, and in Australia as well, they do the same thing. I want to explore the idea of how it could work and how it couldn't work. Now, I've seen some videos, I did some research on it, etc., going into this particular video, and I just wanted to chat to Aditya about it and see some of the pros and the cons. Now, let me first start with the differences between the two balls. Now, according to some people, obviously the manufacturers of Duke, I watched the video on the manufacturer of Duke and what he said about certain things. He said about the seam, it's hand sewn. So because it's hand sewn, there are 6 seams on this particular ball. So there's 3 on the one side, 3 on the other side, where all 3 are obviously hand sewn and hand seamed. That makes it more prominent on the ball. So obviously the ball moves off it. It obviously moves around a lot, a whole different way. And obviously the conditions in England, because they play with it in England, also kind of aids it. Then we're talking about the Kookaburra ball, where it's half, it's half of it basically is hand stitched, and the other half is mechanically stitched. They actually spoke about the 2 on the outside actually being the seams on the outside actually being just for show. That's what some of the people have been saying. It doesn't really affect the game as much, but because of that, it might be a little bit more compact and harder because it's actually machine that's keeping it together. Of course, the machines obviously do certain things a lot accurately, and it's a little more compact and harder for the South African surfaces, and maybe a little bit more durable. Let's talk about this, Aditya, because I know that the first consensus is that no, because of England's conditions, because of England's weather conditions, it can handle the effects of the pitch because there's a lot more grass on the pitch and it doesn't affect the ball as much and it doesn't soften the ball as much. Whereas with a Kookaburra ball on the South African pitches, is a lot more. If it was a Duke ball on the South African pitches, it would obviously get beaten up a lot more. But when we look at some West Indies surfaces are actually quite similar to South Africa. Some of them are quite similar to England. So the Duke ball doesn't get that much of, how would I say, it wouldn't get as abused as much in those particular pitches. But there was some talk that I saw by some people that have been saying it. I don't know if there's any evidence or proof of it online or anywhere where we can look, that the Duke balls in the West Indies are made slightly harder so that it can cope with the different conditions in the West Indies. What is your thoughts on this? Because obviously we heard this, obviously we heard what the players said, but let's talk about the players afterwards. First and foremost, what you think about this particular ball, because I don't think that we should change it.
Look, it's been an enduring debate in cricket because we're always talking about the health of Test cricket and um, the balance between bat and ball. And a number of pundits have suggested in the past that maybe in Test cricket, irrespective of the country that it's being played in, the Duke ball should be used because um, it would retain that balance between bat and ball. So there is merit to that, um, but and the Duke ball was used in South Africa in '99. I think just as a test.
Yes.
But what they found at the time was that because of the hard outfields and the nature of South African wickets, the abrasive nature of South African wickets, the Duke ball didn't hold up very well. Whereas in
But that
England,
was
because of
but that was white ball cricket, eh?
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
but I think you know it's 99 versus 2021 where I think even that ball has evolved over a period of time,
Yeah.
but one thing that seemed to be central to the effectiveness of the Duke ball is the fact that outfields tend to have moisture in England,
Mm.
and the Duke ball would just remain harder because of that. It's easier to maintain the ball in those conditions. And you're right about the West Indies having a slightly different Duke ball. Where I think they've got a more pronounced like, and it does stay harder for longer because even West Indies outfields don't have the sort of moisture that England. In saying that, I agree. I think the Kookaburra ball is right for South Africa, but in saying that, I think just on a trial basis, I think it would be interesting to see how the Duke ball would play in South Africa. Like the current iteration of the Duke ball. You
Mm.
have like two stroke teams, for example, India versus South Africa, and you play with the Duke ball. Who knows? It might be an entertaining contest.
Particularly in Newlands, I think. It would be
Yeah.
interesting to see how it performs in Newlands because on Newlands' outfields are a lot more softer. The pitches are prepared a lot more differently. There's more grass on the pitch at Newlands than it is at Centurion, for example, where the sun is baking over there. And as well as in maybe Durban Kingsmead would be an interesting one as well to see it maybe performing there. But I mean, I think listening to Quinton de Kock and what he's saying is he doesn't want to face that Duke ball in South African conditions, especially because of the bounce and all of those type of things. The ball's moving around a lot and it's very difficult to play against it. Whereas Lungingiri is like, bring the Duke ball my way. I love the Duke ball. The amount of swing he's getting his way and the amount of movement he's getting with the Duke ball is something that is a bowler's paradise, basically. It's a bowler's wish to be able to have a ball that can do that for them and that the ball makes such a big difference. I mean, to find a ball that helps both sides of the equation, no matter what the conditions, is very difficult to properly manufacture. I was listening to obviously Sean Pollock talk um, to Russell Arnold and as well as to Mike Hazeman about it after one of the Sri Lankan games, and they were obviously or in between the Sri Lanka game, and they were talking about the different balls and you could hear them speaking about the seam specifically. Now we saw, like I picked it up immediately. Remember when we were talking about after day one, the first lunch report that we did, I spoke about how the ball's moving off the seam. It's not actually swinging through the air like we see in South African conditions where the balls move in the air and kiss the surface, and it's actually moving off the seam. And like Natalie Jamana said in her commentary that Andrich Nokia, for example, was getting the most amount of seam degrees turn off the seam than he's ever gotten before. So it's interesting. If they made it a little bit harder, DJ, do you see it's something that they can maybe have in South African cricket? I know they tested it as well in Australia in the Sheffield Shield.
It's difficult because the priority is for as many games to go to the fifth day as possible, right? That's what we want to see. In the recent past, the last few years, we've been seeing too many 3-day test matches, 4-day test matches, and so on. And world over, that seems to be problem. So I think it's a combination of factors. In addition to the ball, there has to be some sort of evolution in how pitches are prepared.
Yeah.
And that balance is important. So sometimes if that means, for example, in India, instead of the SG ball, if you try out the Duke ball for a series, I'd like to see how that works. But generally, I think the cricket world should be more open to experimentation for the health of the game. Sometimes I feel like the authorities can be a bit too rigid, and I don't think that's advisable.
Yeah. So, guys, we thought that we're going to be talking about this. Look, yeah, our daily show can be about anything in South African cricket that we really want to speak about. We'll be bringing guests on the show, etc. We'll be doing this at 7 o'clock every evening because I want to also be there for South Africans that are coming home from work that also have an opportunity after supper, to sit down and chill with us and listen to us because we are a South African channel at the end of the day. And if South Africans are not watching us, then what's the point actually? So we need to obviously create content for people that from all different times and time zones, and we're trying to find the perfect synergy. If Aditya can join me from here, then the guys from India, you shouldn't be complaining because this man is so dedicated. He's right here and he's going to be joining me every evening at 7 o'clock for this daily show. So that's our new time slot. Remember, we still have the 8 o'clock Sunday podcast, which Hashit will be very happy about, that we're going back to more cricket orientated topics that we will be talking about, with a couple of things in between. But I mean, majority of the time we'll be having massive debates about certain topics in cricket. Certain things that we talk about here, we'll only be giving you 15-minute videos so that people can just easily pick up and get onto a topic and not chow your data, because in South Africa data is very expensive. So just remember that we are doing that too, and we're trying to create content that is for everybody. So guys, thanks a lot for tuning into our daily show. Keep on tuning in, keep on watching our videos, keep on supporting, share it with all your friends and families, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow with the daily show. I hope you guys have an excellent start to the week and had an excellent start to the week, and it continues to go from strength to strength. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys very, very soon, tomorrow in fact. Take care, everybody.